Destiny 2 has been historically plagued by inconsistency. The quality oscillates from expansion to expansion. There are a lot of great storytelling moments, but it's a series that feels like its attention is divided. The campaigns feel pulled in multiple directions. Along with telling a story, Destiny is often setting up future live service elements, righting the wrongs from past expansions that were received poorly, or trying to lock in player retention. The actual story, I guess, can get muddled in the clutter. The final shape is a momentous conclusion. It's climactic, and the light and darkness saga wraps up in a neat, well-trimmed bow. But what really makes the final shape stand out to me is that the campaign truly knows the story it's telling, right down to the very bones. Screenwriter Corey Mendel talks about the importance of finding out what your story is really about. In fact, he had this question drilled into him by Ridley Scott, the legendary film director.
What I mean is, like, what's it really about? Like, at its core, what's it about? And I remember going two thoughts, like, oh boy, I'm done. Like, no one taught me this in film school. I'm not even sure what he's asking. What he's asking is, at its core, what is the one thing, the unifying thing that everything is about?
In a screenplay, what the story is about should be dissyllable into a single line. A line not about the plot or the characters. Not a summary, or not a catchy pitch that you'd hear in an elevator. It's something about the human condition that the rest of the story wraps around. It's a line that glues everything together. And what a screenplay is about can be a deceptively hard question to answer. A lot of them don't really have one, but without a binding glue, a screenplay gets lost. It wanders. Although Destiny 2 is obviously not a movie, I think the final shape holds to the same principle. The final shape has an answer to this question. What is the story down to its barest bones really about? Well, here's the answer. The final shape is about finding purpose in a world of chaos. This is what everything in the final shape orbits around, and it's why everything seems to just flow so naturally together in this expansion. It's because the final shape knows the story it's telling and is laser focused on it. In this video, we're going to examine 4 characters: the Witness, Cade 6, Crow, and Zavala. We're going to see how their stories center around this idea of finding purpose in a world of chaos. There will be spoilers in this video, so take that as your warning. One last plug. I'm a science fiction writer, and I have a series of post-apocalyptic novels called the Northfield Saga. They focus on a man who's forced to assassinate a target, but he doesn't know his target holds the key to saving the world. If you want to support me further, please consider checking the series out. A link is in the video description. Okay, let's dive in. We're going to start with the Witness, because the Witness and his motivations drive the central conflict of the story. The Traveler visited the Witness's world, and it uplifted the inhabitants there. This is the same gift that the Traveler bestowed upon Earth, the power of its light and technological advancement. In essence, the Traveler provided the means for the Witness's world to grow and flourish. Instead of being grateful, the inhabitants of the Witness's world grew discontent. Their world was still rife with chaos, and they saw the Traveler's light as an instrument of it. It was a world that still contained conflict and death, but above all else, it was a world that still contained chance and uncertainty. A world where people didn't get what they deserved, instead spinning the wheel of chance. The Traveler didn't go far enough. Not for them. In their mind, the Traveler's work was still incomplete, and the Traveler was unable to do what needed to be done. The inhabitants of this world mastered darkness and merged into one collective consciousness, the Witness. The Witness gave chase to the Traveler, determined to usurp its power and do what the Traveler will not, bring order to a chaotic universe. The Witness plans on doing this through the final shape. I think it's pretty easy to intuit why this is bad. Nobody wants to be transformed into a popsicle for eternity, but it goes a bit deeper than that. The Witness doesn't just want to get rid of chaos by freezing the world. Even though everybody's wrapped into this final shape, within, people can live in a reality of the Witness's making. We see this throughout the story when the Witness tempts our heroes. He offers Zavala an eternity with his family, and Crow a place of trust amongst his friends. In this final shape, the Witness can dispense judgment. It can bless or curse somebody into a heaven or hell of its own making. Here we see what the Witness truly wants. It wants complete, absolute control. It wants to become God in essence. So with that in mind, let's bring in the premise I gave earlier, what this story is about. How do you find purpose in a world of chaos? The Witness attempts to reject the premise entirely. It cannot cope with a world that it does not have complete control over. It cannot find purpose if there is also chaos. The idea of a world with chaos and uncertainty where people don't always get what they deserve brings about a certain level of despair. The Witness is this despair in its absolute form. This inability to accept the universe as is brings about great destruction. The Witness will commit great evil, because this goal cannot be achieved naturally, not without robbing the universe of life, which is what makes it so precious. And this willingness to destroy the universe as it is what makes the Witness's plan so evil. Our ghost explains this aptly.
That's why the Witness is here. It wants to weaponize the Traveler and transform the universe into a fixed state based on what it believes we deserve. The Witness thinks purpose is a static idea. Its promised salvation is a perfect ending it chooses for us. That sounds more like obsession to me. You can't bottle life. You can't pin its subtleties in place. It's wild and variable, imperfect. Like the light, it shines out in all directions, shadows and all.
In essence, the Witness must rob everybody of their agency in order to enforce its own will. We see this suppression of will throughout the story. The Witness excises parts of his collective consciousness that dissent. In the introduction cutscene, when the Witness attempts to bring about the final shape, people do not greet the change with acceptance. There is fear and horror. The suppression is inherently violent. However, suppression and force of will are not the only strategies the Witness is willing to employ. As I mentioned earlier, the Witness is willing to tempt our heroes by offering them an endless future with what they truly want. The Witness is the devil and it's offering them a deal. And no matter the offer, it can be boiled down to the same thing. Are you willing to trade freedom and the uncertainty and chaos it produces for the certainty of what you want most? Are you willing to trade agency and purpose for happiness? And we see this as not an easy question for our heroes to grapple with. The Witness works so well as a villain here because his temptation coincides so well with the struggles of our heroes throughout the story. Cayde, Six, Crow, and Zavala all grapple with finding purpose in a chaotic world. The Witness makes them confront this problem head-on and find their own answer. Let's start with Cayde 6. Cayde 6, the fan-favorite hunter, is miraculously brought back to life. He can explain better than I can, so I'll let him take it away.
Where to even start? I died. You probably remember that. Not great. Partly my fault. Lesson learned. Let's not dwell. And after that, nothing. But not a bad nothing. A peaceful nothing. And then there was pain. Separation. Something pulling me out. I woke up here in this body alone. No ghost. No way to use the light.
So, Cayde 6 died and he was brought back to life. What awesome news, right? Well, no, not really. Not for Cayde. He had found peace in the stillness and being together with the Traveler. He was pulled out of it, not by his own volition, and forced to contend with the chaos of the world once more. And this is something Cayde laments.
The Anatronauts might call it being one with the Traveler, but I call it home. No pain. No fear. No Vanguard paperwork. That's heaven. You want to know a secret? I miss it. Even more than I miss you.
Throughout the expansion, Cayde 6 has his trademark wit, but there's a profound sadness that he carries with him. He doesn't know where he belongs in this world. Although he's happy to see his friends again, they've already mourned him and moved on. He's missed, but he's not needed anymore. The hunters are continuing on, even without their vanguard. He can't even seek out revenge. Crow has turned a new leaf and is trying to do right in the world. Cayde knows that life is about doing things that matter. For now, that means helping stop the final shape. But past that, he doesn't have an answer anymore. His journey throughout the story is trying to discover his purpose. He's trying to navigate this world of chaos, which only seems more confusing and disorienting with his revival. This becomes even more complicated when Cayde gets a revelation from Crow. We learn that Cayde was not revived directly by the Traveler. He was instead revived accidentally by a wish from Crow. The distinction might seem slight, but for Cayde 6 it's massive, We see this in how he wants to keep it a secret from Zavala and Ikora to keep their faith intact.
No, you did the right thing keeping this between us. Ikora and Zavala can't know the truth. Not right now.
They need faith.
Right. And I need a drink.
The Traveler is a greater being, able to bestow light and power upon individuals. There's also the belief that the Traveler has a greater plan and will. Cade was pulled into this chaos unwillingly, but he at least had the solace that his revival was part of the Traveler's grand plan. The Traveler had a purpose for him, and Cade just needed to wait until it was revealed. But Crow is just a man, a very flawed man at that. He has no omnipresent purpose, and he's just grasping through the darkness like everybody else. Cade has to contend with the fact that there may not be any greater purpose behind his revival. It may just be another manifestation of this chaotic world he finds himself in. He's left adrift. He looks for the first safety raft he can find, and for him that's Sundance, his ghost. If he has to endure this chaos, he wants to do it with her. The Guardians seek out the Traveler, and Cade manages to communicate with it. The Traveler doesn't speak directly, but it instead gives Cade a vision. The vision is a bitter pill for him to swallow. He can't have Sundance back. The vision too communicates a world every bit as chaotic and sorrowful as the world they inhabit. It seems like the Traveler leaves him with nothing, but it doesn't. The Traveler gives Cade 6 what he's looking for, in the words of his beloved Sundance: devotion, bravery, sacrifice, and death. The Guardian tenets. The Traveler tells Cade 6 of what he needs to live for. Devotion and bravery, Cade 6 already has in spades. These are demonstrated throughout the story naturally, by him fighting alongside his friends to stop the Witness. The last two tenets, sacrifice and death, are the tough ones, and the way in which Cade lives these out is truly beautiful. Cade 6 finds his purpose by helping others find their purpose. He does this by giving, through his sacrifice and eventually his death. First, he offers his position as Hunter Vanguard to Crow. I'll explain more in Crow's section why it's so meaningful to him, but for Cade 6, this is a beautiful sacrifice, which helps someone else find their light. His second sacrifice is even more beautiful. Eventually, our heroes manage to take down the Witness, but at a great cost. Our Guardian's ghost dies, expending all of its energy in a final blow against the Witness. Our Guardian is put in the exact same position as Cade 6, losing our ghost. Our guide of light, our friend, who's always helped us navigate this dark world. All Cade wanted was for Sundance to come back. It was the number one thing on his mind when he communicated with the Traveler. The Traveler said no. Cade couldn't have what he thought he wanted most. But this refusal gave Cade an opportunity to do something even more meaningful, to give Cade a purpose, through devotion, bravery, sacrifice, and death.
Now you tell the others this was my choice. My life. Nobody makes my fate but me.
He can give to someone else what he himself wants the most. Cade 6 gives his light, his very life, to save your ghost. One final act of true selflessness, of true love. With this, Cade 6 has found his last purpose in the living world, this world of death and chaos, and it is a beautiful final moment. Unlike Cade, Crow knows his purpose. He knows what he's striving for. This is explained by the Witness when he's tempting Crow.
Crow. We see his heart held in talons. We hear it beat with his twin sister's stings. Within the final shape, we offered a vision of our bride. Of yours, friends, looking to him with trust. But, like you, he chose pain.
Crow wants to be in a position where others can depend on him, where others can trust him. In essence, he wants to lead. However, there's something in his way, something that's preventing him from pursuing his purpose, and that is guilt. Crow feels tremendous guilt for his evils, particularly killing Cade. This guilt is brought to a head in the story, as he has to face the very man he's killed. Because of the evils he's committed, he believes he has to suffer, In fact, he views suffering and enduring pain as his purpose now. He has no higher purpose.
Only purpose can cure his heart. And he believes his capacity for pain is that purpose.
So in one aspect, he has a similar worldview to the Witness. The Witness cannot accept a universe where the evil do not get what they deserve. Likewise, Crow cannot foresee a world where he doesn't suffer for what he's done. This is where Crow's story intersects so beautifully with Cade's. Cade shows Crow a path forward. He forgives Crow. But he goes further than that. He offers Crow his former position as Hunter Vanguard. As the leader of the Hunters, Crow's provided an avenue to achieve his true purpose. He is given a leadership position where his friends must rely on him, where they trust him. Everything that the Witness offered without sacrificing his freedom. Through this offer, Cade 6 is not only offering Crow an avenue forward, he's giving Crow something even more important. He's giving Crow his blessing to move on.
Shut up. Life ain't about drawing out the living part. It's about making what you do while you're alive matter. So grow a spine and make her proud.
He doesn't want Crow to be punished or to suffer, regardless if he deserves it or not. He gives Crow grace and mercy. In a world of perfect order, in a world with defined rules and unbending consequences, there is no room for these concepts. Cade shows Crow the hope in a world where the future isn't set in stone, where the past doesn't have to define the type of people we become, or the future we have. Cade helps Crow accept a world in which justice may not be strictly imposed, but it's a world that's better for it. A world where there's grace and mercy. A world where Crow can move beyond his crimes and achieve his greater purpose. Last but not least, we have Zavala. Like Crow, he's tempted by the Witness. However, this temptation is significantly more effective on Zavala. It shakes him down to his core. The Witness offers him his family back. This strikes a chord with him. He begged the Traveler to revive his son after he was killed, but his pleas fell on deaf ears. It makes Zavala question his faith in the Traveler. He begins to see the Traveler as a being that merely demands faith in death.
The Traveler can't help us. It could never help us. I gave it everything I had, and it keeps taking. Our silent God finally speaks, demanding faith, demanding death.
This is difficult for Zavala. He once had great faith in the Traveler, perhaps more than anybody else. Through faith in the Traveler, he had purpose. He had refuge against the chaos and suffering in the world. He endured his family's death, and generally the chaos and violence in the world, because he believed in the Traveler. He believed there was an ultimate purpose. When his faith in the Traveler wavers, the bottom starts to fall out. He's left adrift in this chaotic world, looking for something, anything to latch onto. What he latches onto is the darkness. He's beginning to walk the same path that the Witness did. He's growing unsatisfied with the chaos in the world. He sees the Travelers unable or unwilling to make the world as it should be. He dives into the darkness for salvation too. He thinks it holds the key to defeating the Witness. Ultimately, he sees the folly in his ways, but it comes at a great price. In the darkness, he encounters the Witness, who offers him freedom from the chaos, but his ghost Targe tries to stop the Witness. The Witness in turn crushes the ghost. This is a microcosm of the flaw in the Witness's plan. The Witness wants to expunge chaos from the world, but it comes at the expense of crushing everybody into its will. Zavala sees that ridding the world of chaos has a cost. Targe paid that cost for him. The darkness does not hold the purpose he's looking for, not in of itself at least. Forsaking the Traveler in its light is not the way. After mourning, Zavala reflects.
But Guardian, your ability to wield both darkness and light gives you an advantage. You will do what I could not.
Light and darkness, both are required to defeat the Witness. Both are required for Zavala to find his purpose, his guiding light once more. For the Witness, the Traveler represents chaos, while darkness is the way to achieve ultimate order. For Zavala, these two roles were reversed. The Traveler guided him. Following the light, having faith in it, was his purpose. Darkness, on the other hand, was dangerous. He warned other Guardians against using it because he saw it as a corruptible thing, a thing the Guardians couldn't control. In essence, he saw it as chaos. When the chaos of the world grew too overwhelming, he could no longer accept the state of the world. Why did the Traveler allow death and tragedy when it could help instead? Wielding the darkness is his form of reconciliation. It's his acceptance that the chaos is a necessary part of the universe. Instead of rejecting this fact of life, he now embraces it, literally. Yet, he still fights alongside those who wield the light. He knows darkness is not the path alone. Light and darkness are both needed. This reconciliation allows Zavala to find his footing again as a leader. While questioning the Traveler, he grew reckless. Like the Witness, he started to suppress dissenting voices.
Zavala, this is reckless. And that's coming from me. You're not just going to let him do this, are
No
you?
one lets me do anything. I am Vanguard Commander, and you will follow my orders.
He grew isolated. Essentially, he stopped leading because he didn't know where he was going himself. But when Zavala accepts the darkness, the chaos in the world, it allows him to find his place again. It allows him to lead once more. Boldly, with darkness in hand, he leads the charge in the final push against the Witness. Zavala's journey provides a different perspective into how the Witness came to be. We watch in real time how he falls into the same despair, logical pitfalls, and anger. In effect, Zavala's journey not only gives us insight into him, but also the Witness, which is a beautiful piece of storytelling. Unlike the Witness, Zavala finds a way out. It took the sacrifice of his dear ghost, but nonetheless, he came out the other side. By accepting the world and letting go of his despair, he found purpose, which enabled him to command once more. The stories of Zavala, Cayde-6, and Crow reflect their greater conflict with the Witness. Because of this, their journeys don't feel like asides, but integral parts of the story. Everything melds together so nicely. The final shape is Destiny's most beautiful storytelling. That's because it's Destiny's most confident storytelling. The way everything binds together is not happenstance. The final shape knows the story it's telling, from the very first opening cutscene to the credits. It's a story about finding purpose in chaos. I don't know what comes next for Destiny. I don't know what comes after the Light and Darkness saga, but no matter what comes, I'm grateful for the final shape and the beautiful story it weaves. Thanks for watching. It means a lot that you made it all the way through. Please give the video a like or subscribe if you enjoyed it, or check out the Northfield saga. Until next time.